I have to document this. What do you think about that, Jennifer?
Usually I get a lot of questions like, well, how do you take it? What kind is it?
Here's Jennifer. She's gonna walk to mommy. Woo! Did you walk? Did Jennifer walk?
If I tell them that I use medical marijuana, they're like, oh, so you smoke? And I'm like, well, no, it's actually an oil.
It's in olive oil as a carrier oil, and I place it under her tongue with a syringe.
She says it tastes awful.
Yeah.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, Mommy.
We're on our way now to go to your first piano recital. How do you feel?
Excited.
We have to sing happy birthdays. 1, 2, 3. Don't lean on this. Happy birthday to you.
You know, now we can look back on it. At the time, it was just hell. But you know, you're a parent, and you're just putting one foot in front of the other. It's like, this can't be the rest of her life. There's got to be something else. And yeah, I mean, we almost just lost everything.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jennifer. Happy birthday to you.
We noticed it at a very young age. Her eyes would flutter a little bit sometimes. And then her sister said, you know, Mom, Jen can't hear you when she does that eye thing. She would have an absence, and then a couple seconds later another absence, and then another absence, and we'd see, you know, where she couldn't really even communicate anymore. And then it would progress into a grand mal seizure. The first medication we tried actually worked. It stopped her absence and it stopped the grand mal seizures. It was Depakote. But the problem was, about 6 months into it, she told me she wanted to kill herself, that she had been planning her suicide. And we brought her to see a psychiatrist who said she was suicidal.
I took like 18 pills a day. Maximum adult dose of Depakote at the age of 13.
It made her gain weight, 30 pounds, made her not want to participate in life anymore. Another one caused her to rage, so we had to take all the doorknobs off of all of our doors because she would lock herself in the room and threaten to harm herself. She would attack me, attack her father, her sister, made her go from being, you know, really, really high functioning at school to self-contained classes.
Yeah,
she couldn't remember anything.
She could tell. I mean, she'd say, you know, Dad, I'm dumb. I was like, you're not dumb, honey. She said, no, I am. I get to the end of a sentence, I can't even remember what the beginning of it was. And we were losing seizure control, and then her cognitive ability was just, you know, it was just going down. It's like, this can't be the rest of her life.
So in this room we have the mother plants, which are the bigger plants, and then the production plants over there, the smaller plants. We're still in the vegetative stage here. So we have metal halide light bulbs in here, 10 tons of air conditioning, and our rolling benches, which all the plants are set on. We're now in week 4 of 8-week flowering cycle in this room. You'll see the buds are starting to grow in on the plants, and we're halfway through, so these buds will end up joining up all the nodes, interlinking all the way down the stem. Here we are in the drying room. We hang the whole plant upside down on the rack and let it dry for approximately 10 days, depending on the strain. we'll remove all the individual buds off the stems, and they will go into curing phase and then final trimming. We have high THC strains, we have then the 1-to-1 CBD THC, and then the high CBD strains. We sell a lot of the CBD strains in this form because it can be used by patients orally instead of by smoking them.
I had seen a video of a boy named Jaden in California who had taken cannabis oil to help his seizures. So I started researching it, just trying to find out, would this be something Jen could do?
My first reaction was absolutely not. You know, we're not kooks. And then when Beth downloaded the research abstracts and everything, it's like, okay, we've got to give it a shot at least.
We have just a handful of patients who are children who are dealing with seizure disorders and some form of epilepsy. About a third of them are helped with pharmaceuticals, and about a third of them get some help, and about a third of them don't get any help at all. And in fact, once they've tried 5 different seizure disorder medications, there's nothing that's going to help them. And when those families come in here and find help, it's more than dramatic, it's really kind of miraculous.
I started looking into going into Colorado and talked to our neurologist about it, and he said, well, you know, we're done with Jen. I mean, we don't have anything more to give her, so if it were my kid, I'd go. So we split up the family. We took her off the oil, we had some baseline EEGs done, and then I started researching THCA oil and decided to try that instead. When we first started it, she probably had a 90% decrease in seizures. And that's a lot, because Jennifer can have between 15 and 50 an hour.
The first few days that I was on it, me and my mom were like, hey, you know, you're doing pretty well these past few days. I don't want to jinx anything, but I think it's working.
She stopped attacking me. She stopped wanting to hurt herself. Her grades improved. She had so much more mental clarity. She lost 30 pounds. It was just amazing, amazing.
I take the oil twice a day, morning and night. It's just like drinking water, you don't really feel any difference.
I think when we first went out, there were about 40 families. And then within a couple months, it went up to like 100, then 200, and all of a sudden there's a whole community of refugees. And literally the dosing is all parents, and it's mainly tiger moms that are just tirelessly taking care of their kids. You know, just kind of, it's like, okay, my kid has this, and they're taking this, so how are you weaning down? It's like, I'm going to try that. And literally that's how everybody is dosing. There's no doctors because they can't talk about it. And meanwhile, you're seeing your kid be able to wean off 75% with your own eyes and not have these side effects. And nope, we can't. Sorry, it's still illegal. We need more research. But we can't do research, but we need more research. And parents just like us, hundreds, in most of the states in the country doing exactly what we did, trying to change your state law, and wondering why are you practically bankrupting yourself and all your spare time just trying to take care of your kid, being told, no, you can't do that. And oh, by the way, you run the risk of having forfeiture and, you know, losing your house and all your money and your kid too.
Dear Virginia Legislature, my name is Jennifer Collins and I live in Colorado, even though I would like nothing more than to still be living in Virginia. I'm sure most of you have a little girl, so imagine her in my place. Your little girl going off to Colorado because she has no other medical options. Wouldn't that be hard on your whole family? There is research that shows that medical marijuana works, then you would have to be crazy not to want to at least give it a try and research it more. Because what is it going to hurt if you make it legal there? Please consider it. Thank you.
Right now, the status quo in the United States for medical marijuana policy is pretty untenable. If you go and you arrest someone who is possessing marijuana, or you're going to an operation like this one, this is a federal crime all around us, no questions asked. States, on the other hand, have really moved forward in terms of reform, especially around medical marijuana. We have 29 states in DC right now that have reformed their laws for full-fledged medical marijuana systems. From state to state, the systems vary dramatically, and so depending on where you live, you might not have access to medical marijuana at all, and if you're in a state that's reformed it, you might not qualify from one state to another depending on what conditions you face and what challenges your health presents.
I think it's a very good jumping off point to know why the federal government's policies are so harmful to pediatric patients specifically. We could take a slow 5-minute stroll and be in the heart of Tacoma Park, Maryland, a whole other state from here, where there are children who are suffering and need this medication, but we can't give it to them because of government policies. That just doesn't make any sense.
It's important to remember, even if you're a medical marijuana user in one state, if you go on vacation, you can't fly with it, you can't cross state lines with it, even if you're going from one state that is legal to another state that's legal. Over 200 million Americans face this unique challenge, not because of what the states have done, but because federal law is creating this bizarre situation.
We see cancer patients, people who are in treatment using chemotherapy, radiation. They're nauseous, they can't eat, they can't keep up their energy. It's hard to keep up with the chemotherapy, and they find great relief with medical marijuana. It stimulates the appetite.
There's a cancer patient who's in chemotherapy right now. He tried all the products available in the market, and for some reason, only one of our strains, ChemDog, worked for him during chemo. Because of the regulations we have right now, we ran out of ChemDog. This patient came to the dispensary crying because there was nothing else that worked for him.
I'm always kind of worried about getting arrested in the future with a job. I'm worried if I have to get drug tested, I'll show up positive. And it's very difficult because I'm always worried about my mom getting arrested too.
Medical marijuana has come in leaps and bounds in the last 3 years. We're working with people who have done clinical studies on all these products and how they can help people, and eventually it's going to become accepted as a pharmaceutical product.
We see a lot of people now who are living with chronic pain, and that seems to be a key issue. Physicians are encouraging them to use medical marijuana rather than opioids.
Medical marijuana is supported by between 85 and 90% of Americans. What happens right now with marijuana, however, is that the feds are taking a hands-off approach. They're not really going into states and cracking down on businesses that are abiding by the rules, the state rules that is, and they're not really cracking down on patients for the most part. That said, for patients, that's only a little bit of relief. There is a reality in the states that the feds could change their tune, that Congress could pull back the protection against DEA and FBI going into these states and enforcing the law. And so that creates this zone of uncertainty for patients. They don't know from day to day what the US government is going to do and whether that supply is going to be cut off.
I want to now bring forward Jennifer Collins. She's a Virginia resident, extraordinary for someone of her age to be so courageous in this fight that's not just about her, but about others as well. Jennifer.
My name is Jennifer Collins, and I'm 17 years old. I'm speaking to you on behalf of children with intractable epilepsy who cannot speak for themselves. The only medicines that controlled my grandma's seizures had horrible side effects. They It made me depressed, suicidal, and I couldn't remember anything. I also had rages where I would attack my parents.
Punching me, suicide, thoughts of suicide.
And afterwards, I felt really bad because I couldn't control it.
Is it okay I'm sharing this?
In December of 2013, my mom and I moved to Colorado to try cannabis oil. The oil helped reduce my seizures so much that I was able to go down on my pharmaceuticals. I also have not had a grand mal seizure since starting THCA. And in 1 week from now, I will no longer be on any pharmaceuticals after taking 17 pills a day for years.
We chose to come home. We chose to come back to the state we love, to the people we love, and put our faith in our lawmakers to help us give Jennifer the life she deserves.
Oh, I could do Simple Man. That's Simple Man. I'm not really used to playing on this guitar, but it's like...
Can you grab the guitar you're used to playing on?
Yeah. I actually remembered something that I had said from a week before. I gave my mom a hug. I was so excited. And I actually have all A's right now in school. I know it just started, but that would never happen on Depakote. When I was on Depakote before, Depakote had control over my life, and now I have control over my life. It's really weird looking back on it. I thought it was, that was my normal at the time, but now when I'm looking back on it, I see how awful it really was. I have to figure out college, and that's really difficult just with the whole medication issue. And driving, that's always an issue for me. But I think just the thing that scares me the most is since I didn't have so much of my life before, I have to get it all under control right now. Oh yeah, I didn't feel like I had a life until a few months ago. Start my life at 17.
Do you think there's anything?
Oh, jeez, Mom.
Sorry.
But we didn't get her ugly cry face in it.
Oh, no.
Hey. What are you doing?
I get to record next week. Lose your tooth.
Okay, now move your tooth around.